From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passion from a common spring. From the same source, I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent